in just the past 20 years, a third of the world's population, really being population in our own neighbourhood, has re-entered the global economy. And the white paper looks at how Australia can join this dynamic region by diversifying that export base into various services. We know that education is leading the charge. I was, I'll admit it, quite pleasantly surprised when the Prime Minister asked me when we were on one of our overseas trips, what ranking is education as an export earner in for our total exports, and I think it's number 4, or by some measures number 3. They've got iron ore, coal, education. I think that's a great tribute to all the people who have been involved in these endeavours over many years. It's a huge earner for our country. When we reflect on the benefits, of course, it is the incomes that we earn from young people coming here. But every young person who does come here and has a pleasant experience of living in Australia becomes a champion for Australia when they go back to their home countries, whether they're champions from their positions in the business community, the civil service, or indeed in the leadership of those countries. And there's a long list of such leaders in those countries who have had really good education experiences here in Australia.
While the opportunities in mining, in energy and agriculture, I think are well understood, the services opportunity is equally important. And services account for 70% of Australia's GDP and employ more than 4 out of every 5 Australians. This report, for the first time, looks at the performance of the services trade throughout the region following the global financial crisis in our key service sectors of education, transport, finance and business services. The results are actually interesting from several perspectives. First, it shows that the growth in services trade is strong and has actually been resilient to economic shocks. Despite a reduction in trade in education, in transport, in business and financial services immediately following the global financial crisis, by 2011, much of the service sector had recovered to be above or higher than the 2008 index levels. Second, it examines the growth trend for each service sector in Asia, which allows us to consider both the opportunities and the challenges facing each sector in the region. And I was particularly pleased to read that the trade in finance and insurance services fell slightly during the GFC, but has already far surpassed the pre-GFC levels. I must admit I had some sense that this may have been the case, but it was good to see it confirmed. The other interesting part of this report is that it considers Australia's trade in services with 16 countries in Asia, which is important because it helps us think more clearly about Asia as a series of distinct markets and distinct opportunities. And despite the natural focus on the growth of hard and soft commodity exports, this report also shows that services trade has performed just as strongly. The broader point here is that services are an integral part of Australia's current and future competitive advantage, and we need to give it clear policy focus if we are to realise its potential in the Asian century.